The Simply Successful program offers stress management tools for the lifespan, so small children, adolescents, or adults can be simply successful.
Hello, I'm Deb Timmerman.
And I'm Beth Tuttle. Welcome to the Simply Successful program. We teach stress management skills that build resilient kids, successful families, and thriving communities.
Today our guest is Debra Anderson. Debra is a vocal confidence coach. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Tell our listeners what a vocal confidence coach does.
Well, vocal confidence is the important aspect of getting up in front of anyone and speaking, singing, performing, any of these types of things. And I teach the ability to be so confident in your vocal skills that you will be able to accomplish that with much less stress, much less worry, and represent yourself in the most professional way, whether it be for your own company or if you're representing a company that you may work for.
I've heard that one of the most stressful times in a person's life is having to stand up and give a speech in front of someone. The fear of public speaking.
Yeah, actually, if you look online, people will say they would rather drown or be burnt alive before they have to speak in front of someone.
Oh, that's funny. I think that's funny because some of us, I'm afraid, are born with a little bit of that ham in us. So some of us will get up in front of people without a problem, but every situation will bring some kind of a stressor. And what I like to do is teach you, along with you gals who have also helped me, how to prepare ahead of time. So you prepare both material-wise, you make sure that you know what you're going to speak about, you've rehearsed it, you've planned it, you know how you most effectively want to deliver it, which is what I help you with when we're taking lessons, and ultimately make it so that when you get up in front of everybody, a lot of that fear, because you're going to have adrenaline flowing, ladies, and you know that when you get up in front of people and you're already a little bit nervous, then that adrenaline almost takes over. But if you've prepared well enough ahead of time, then you are able to manage that effectively, just like you all teach about stress management.
Well, that's very true about the stress response. Our bodies cannot tell the difference between doing a public speaking event or the tiger chasing us, and it starts that flow of stress chemicals, and then we can't think. We can't process, and it's like a slippery slope. When that starts, all of a sudden it's like the words won't come, and it's hard to communicate, and we all get a little sweaty under the armpits, or maybe get butterflies in our bellies. Absolutely. And then we freak out and we don't know what to do.
I've had many instances over the years. I've been a vocalist for many years. Used to perform all over Grand Rapids, and had to perform with the symphony at one point. And the symphony is under contract. They're a union. They have to fall within a certain time frame. So during rehearsal, I was messing up my timing. And oh my goodness, talk about stress. And in front of all of these professional musicians, I was not confident. I was messing up. It was very stressful. I did get my act together finally, but you know what happened to me? And this has happened before. When I get stressed, I lose my voice. Seriously. My reaction is that I will lose my voice. So before, I can name at least 2 instances where I physically lost my voice and did not know if I was going to be able to sing or not. But when the time came, and this is where preparation comes in, that and maybe a lot of prayer, but I was able to perform and do a good job, even had a review in the paper, and it was favorable, so that was a relief. But these are the things that preparation helps you overcome. That is my physical reaction. I'm sure there must be other physical reactions to stress.
There is, and it's really important that you know what your own personal physical reaction is so that you are able to be mindful when it's happening or starting to happen, and you know what that trigger is.
And until I met you, Deb, I never realized there was such thing as a vocal coach. I mean, we think of a tennis coach and, a violin coach, but you don't think about a vocal coach, maybe for singing but not speaking. So for someone listening for the first time that didn't realize that, how does that look? How do they work with you, or how would you work on your voice?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one I need to put a little bit more paper to. But what it is everybody knows that vocalists, singers, take voice lessons. We do that because we want to improve our ability, but there's tools that can be taught to the vocalist. Breathing is one of the very key tools to support and to knowing how to phrase anything, whether it be singing or speaking.
And breathing is what gives you resonance and tone and quality to your voice.
Absolutely. The support is from your diaphragm, which many people know, but they don't really know how to execute that because we're used to taking deep breaths through our chest. And that is okay, but that's your filter. Your support system comes from your diaphragm. And so that's just one tool. There are also tools for articulation. There are tools for, as you mentioned, resonance, head voice. But these are things that speakers need to know. Speakers need to understand that way in the back of that room, they cannot be heard if they are not articulating clearly and if they are not producing enough tone to come out and over that whole room. It's not necessarily an acoustically correct room, so we need to learn those tools to be the professional and get the message across that what is the point, ladies, of getting up in front of a bunch of people to say something if we can't be understood? So the message has to be clear, and my job as a coach is to help you develop those tools and learn the confidence necessary to execute that. Unfortunately, I can't practice for you, and my students need to know that there is no way that I can create in you that ability unless you practice. But when you practice, these techniques do come into play, and they do start to manifest themselves in a favorable way.
Does some of that preparation have to do with muscle memory and being so comfortable with what you're doing, it becomes natural?
Absolutely, Deb. That's a great point. The breathing technique, for example, is something that you can practice almost anywhere and everywhere. So it should be practiced to the point where it becomes second nature to you. Because the whole point is the more we practice on any of these techniques and tools, if it becomes second nature, then you're not thinking about all the mechanics of delivering your speech. And you're developing the ability to speak, but naturally, and having it all come across the way you want without worrying about all of those mechanics.
And we can totally relate to that, because if you practice our stress management techniques and tools, you're going to be able to get yourself to a calm space much more quickly.
Absolutely.
Because you know exactly what to do, and you know how your body knows how to respond.
That's right. And I would say my job would be, in some cases, to refer that person that needs that stress management first before they can worry. Executing some of my vocal technique might be inhibited by the fact that they're so uptight. So then I would be referring them to you, ladies, for some stress management help.
And really, the two go hand in hand with each other. You need to be able to relax, but also deliver your message confidently. So we do share techniques between the two disciplines.
Absolutely.
And yes, we've taken vocal lessons from Deb.
And Deb has applied some of these stress management techniques because, quite frankly, I need to be able to calm myself sometimes even before teaching a lesson. You realize, and I'm sure you ladies know this, when you're teaching something, sometimes that emotional interaction with the student can be draining, physically draining. So we want to be able to, and after a while, we are able to do these techniques and teach these techniques without being wiped out. But in the beginning of learning anything, it's very common to kind of be wiped out from all of that emotion.
Whenever I stand up in front of a crowd and give a prepared talk, there's this checklist I have in my head that I go through that you've taught, making sure that you support your breath,
right.
Taking a good deep breath from your belly, but also combining that with our stress management techniques and taking a moment to just get myself together, take a few breaths so that I can be present and think about what I need to deliver in the moment, not have that tape going through my head, oh, I'm doing this, but yes, I'm thinking about that.
Right.
It really has a lot to do with the quality and the connection that you make with your audience.
It really
and
does.
how well you can deliver your message.
You are so correct, Deb, and I can't even add to that because that's it in a nutshell. That's fantastic. You've learned very well. I'm very proud of you.
That's from having a good teacher.
Well, thank you.
One of the things that I found most uncomfortable in working with you was listening to myself in the replays and identifying that we have a Midwestern dialogue and a Midwestern twang, and we don't open our mouths, and some of our vowels come out sounding very squeaky. So one of the
nasally
words that I've had to work on is really.
Mm-hmm.
I would say really.
Mm-hmm.
So just be thinking about that in your own day-to-day life, and if you listen to yourself, you can it's kind of funny, and you chuckle, and you have no idea how you come across.
I think that, and I know that most people I don't even enjoy listening to the sound of my voice. However, if you approach it more clinically and say, look, I need to figure out why this sounds like this, and what is my mouth doing, and why am I not able to execute this sound correctly. And of course I give you techniques and tools to help you practice to get the proper sound to come out right, 2 fingers wide, and these kinds of things. Now, here's the thing, ladies. I'm going to be doing, Women's Life is having another seminar in October, and Deb, you probably have more information about that, but I will be teaching about how to love your voice. Because we are all in this position where, I don't like the way I sound. And I'm going to teach you why it's so important for you to take care of that instrument that you have within your body, and how important it is to love the voice that you were given.
If you would like more information on Women's Life, you can check that out at womenslife.org. That's WOMANSLIFE.org. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
If our listeners would like to take you up on your vocal confidence coaching skills,
you bet.
How do they find you?
You may actually email me at Mozzarella Mama, which is spelled MOZZARELLAMAMA at gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and you can find me on Facebook, which is Debra L. Anderson, Vocal Coach on Facebook, 915-1231, area code 616.
For more stress management tools, you can find us at simplysuccessfulprogram.com. Again, that's simplysuccessfulprogram.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us today. See you next time.